Hey, what's happening, everybody? Calvin Casey here in San Diego. Wanted to put together a little video about sales and some of the efforts that we've done here in San Diego and give you some info and hopefully some encouragement. I wanted to talk about three things. The first is just a quick introduction of our story. I partnered up with Kim, kind of how we started here in San Diego and the efforts and the time and the momentum that seemed to happen after a while. Wanted to also talk about my sales approach. Brought in my, this is kind of my monthly guide to my goals and how I track them. And then just had two pieces of advice just in general about sales. So first thing, quick intro to our story. Started 5 years ago. This is our 5th year, our 10th semester, I guess that would be, in our 9th semester. Started off with 6 schools in a district that we call Chula Vista. And from there, we now have close to 80 or 90 schools throughout San Diego County. So we've seen loads of growth. A lot of it has been word of mouth, serving the schools so well that the PTA talks to the next door neighbor PTA. And but a lot of it, as we all know, it has to do a lot with drop-offs and PTA meetings. And so, but it's been a fun story, really cool. Kim did a lot of the sales when we first started year 1. I would say most of these numbers we tripled as far as our goals. In our 5th year, we just obviously with a lot more momentum, we don't need to put in as much time as we did with drop-offs and PTA meetings and such, but they were really valuable for us. And so I would say the numbers I'm going to walk you through are probably tripled in year 1. Or they've decreased by 3 times in after year 5 when people know us. Okay, my favorite part about Apex is working with our team at this point. I've moved kind of away. I used to be a team leader, and now as I've done a lot more of the managing of teams, that's probably my favorite part, is just working with this amazing group of people and feeling like I'm making a difference in the community, right? So that's a big deal for me. Let me go through my approach. Okay, so here's my monthly goal sheet. You can see on the bottom, there was no schools in here to begin with. And as I had meetings, I would put the school names in, and then as they booked, I would cross them off. So my goal was to get 100, no, just kidding, 20, and I think I'm about 17 so far, and I have a couple more weeks before the semester ends, so we'll see how we end up. But what I wanted to focus on was the top. So you'll see here my goal every month or every 2 weeks is to do 5 drop-offs. Probably you're looking at more like 15 to 30 drop-offs in year 1, but I do anywhere from 5 to 10 drop-offs. I'll have it categorized by the week, and so I'll do it weekly here. And then I'll mark it off. And then another big one is race invites, right? So we've seen some really cool impacts year 1 when schools didn't know who we are. And once you get the couple schools, you invite a ton of people, and usually several show up. Hopefully several show up. But now we're doing it differently with our email invites. We also do drop-offs occasionally to really good schools in the area with a paper, a really cool invite. And so then we focus on that. So I put our current schools here, and then I do 1 invite, 2 invite, 3 invites. The third one is where you talk about the results of the school. That's where I get a lot more of the people attention, is when actually I send them what the results were and how well schools did. I try to do 5 PTA meetings, whether that's invited or I dropped off in a week, and then I do 1, 2, 3 lunch meetings. My lunch meetings now are typically more with clients that we work with. So, I think at first, maybe if you have relationships and you start doing those drop-offs, and then once you meet people, you can invite them to lunch, I think that counts, right? So whatever your goal is, I think it's important to have those goals, track those goals, and award yourself for those goals. Have a nice dinner, or make it a game where if you get a really big school, you're going to go to you're going to do something adventurous and whatnot. So that was one of the things I had. I wanted, as just recommendations, were goal it, track it, award it. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention is it just takes a lot of grit, and sales is hard. And we had a really cool sales call last week where we talked about being gritty and just going 100% at this, and never giving up on schools. We booked schools this year that we talked to 5 years ago, and just keep talking to them and being persistent and being friendly and knowing when to back up and knowing when to push forward. So grittiness is probably my number 1 piece of advice. Love y'all. Have a great Have a great day, great week, great holiday. Bye.